Where's the other
Huh?
I got confused on the second one. I was like, what?
I just didn't know.
I forgot mine.
Oh my god, where is mine?
Thank you.
On the proportions worksheet,
I got confused on question 2. I did the eating. That's what I was
questions, problems you want to see work.
Did I give her?
Which ones did I give you, Chloe?
Number
What is
2.
it?
It's right.
It's the regular.
No, what is it?
It's right.
I got confused on the proportions. 30.
Questions, problems you want to see worked off the proportions worksheet.
30.
That's wrong. 30. Problem 30. I think I'm going to count each of these a triple grade too,
Oh.
since apparently you guys don't think you have to do the homework anymore. In a certain desert environment, there are a lot of small rodents. There also happens to be a lot of snakes that feed on the rodents. The ratio of rodents to rodents eating snakes is 13 to 3. If there are 4,000 snakes in the area, about how many rodents are there? We're going to set up a proportion, right? Everybody should have out their calculators. Maybe I won't be such a jerk and count it as a triple if everybody's actually focused for these last 30 minutes and doing what you should be doing. I don't have to go through all the headache that I went through the whole time. Chloe with comment every time for no reason. Got to stay focused, right? David laying his head down, Levi talking to Robert all the time instead of being focused right here. What's the first ratio?
13 to
13 to 3. Now you got to be careful when you set up these. We don't have the triangles, but what we do have is we know 13 stands for something and 3 stands for something. What's the 13 stand for? Rodents. Is that right? I'm not even looking at my paper, so I hope you guys tell me right. What's the 3 stand for? Then they gave us another number, which was what? 4,000. Where's that go? Bottom? Everybody agree with that? How come? Because it's snakes. What's going to go on top? Let's do R. Now what? Cross multiply. Anybody remember what are these two, the first term and the fourth term called? Extremes. So we multiply the extremes. Somebody help me out.
52,000.
On the other side we got 3R. Now what do you do? Divide by 3. This is the thing that bothers me more than anything. Are these problems all that real difficult? And you guys, if some of you, I shouldn't say all of you because it's probably not all of you, but if you're not actually doing the work, does it matter how difficult I make them? No. So R equals what?
17,333.
0.3. Now what'd they tell us? Read the problem again. Close. You skipped a word. About how many? So are we going to round it off?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not going to have a third of a rodent. So 17,333 without the decimal. That's good enough. 33. Scale on the map indicates that 1 inch equals 4 miles. If two towns are 3.5 inches apart on the map, what is the actual distance between the two towns? So again, we're going to set up a proportion. What's the first one? 1 over 4. What's the 1? Inches. What's the 4? Miles. 3.5 on top. M on bottom for miles. Cross multiply. What do you get multiplying the extremes?
You get
Extremes.
Get
1m, now multiplying the means. 14. Do you really need to divide by 1? No, what's it going to be? 14 miles. So we know that the two towns are 14 miles apart. Now the other thing that makes me so mad about this, Robert, is this stuff, and I understand, Robert's saying, I ain't never going to use none of this crap in my life. You might be right. Is this stuff that you're actually going to use in real life problem?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you ever want to look at that. 38.
Thing that kills me with stuff like GPS now, people punch in stuff on their GPS and GPS screws up and they don't have a clue. Let's see, I need to go to Richmond today. I punch in my GPS. Okay, it's going to take me 8 hours and 10 minutes. Okay, and then they just follow their GPS because they're not thinking. You guys laugh.
It's true.
It's true.
Oh, where are they driving from?
Yeah.
8 hours to Richmond. GPS understand?
Next one. I'll do one more off, or maybe one or two more off of that one. 38. If you've already got 38, should you be working other problems right now and trying to make sure you got these done? It makes sense, wouldn't it? They tell us the ratio of the measures, sorry about the line, I'm not erasing it. Measure of the angles of a triangle are 5 to 7 to 8. 3 angles of a triangle, Robert, always add up to 180, right?
Yeah.
What do we say you do with each of these numbers?
5x, 7x, and 8x.
Put a variable with it. So if it helps you to draw the triangle, that angle's 5x, that angle's 7x, that angle's 8x, then set up your equation. All right, what's my equation going to be?
5x plus 7x plus 8x equals 1.
Equals what?
180.
180, because the 3 angles of a triangle always add up to 180. Is that going to work for the ones up here dealing with the sides? No, because they don't always add up to equal 180 on the sides. Some of you need to start understanding, this is probably where most of you, because you don't like math or you're not good at math and you try to use that as an excuse. If you start doing stuff to make things easier on yourself, you wouldn't hate it so much. Stuff like, I know 7 and 8 give you how much? Figure it out this one time, then you should always remember. 15. How come I should ever care about that? What do you want things to add up to give you? 5s or 10s? It makes it easier, doesn't it? So if you can figure out, hey, 7 and 8 give me 15, you can make it easier on yourself. Then once you know that those are 15 together, what's that give you with the other 5x? 20. You can make things a whole lot easier on yourself. Now what? What do you get? X equals 9. Is that our answer? They want us to find the 3 angles. What do we got to do? Substitute back in. Plug back in for x in all 3 of these spots. What's 5 times x?
45.
So one angle is 45 degrees. What's 7 times x? Or 7 times 9, sorry.
63.
63. What's 8 times 9? 72. Those are our 3 angles. Give me another problem. The ratio, the measures of the sides of a triangle are 6 to 7 to 9.
6
Sides of the triangle, 3 sides of a triangle, Robert, always add up to 180, right?
No.
All right, we'll make sure. They tell us that the perimeter this time is 77. So how am I going to write an equation?
6x plus 7x plus an x equals 77.
Again, trying to find something that makes it easier on you. When you're adding with 9, so that you don't have to take off your shoes to add it up, what do you know? Adding with 9 is the same as adding with 10, but then you take away how many? 1 at the end. So what's 10 plus 7? What's 10 plus 7? 17, then you take away 1 and you get 16. What's 16 and 6 give us? Now you might have to take off your shoes. But I guess that wouldn't work either unless you're deformed, right? Now what do you do? Divide by 22. Comes out exactly 3.5?
Yep.
Now, again, do I always want everything changed to a decimal? No, if it comes out some crazy decimal, then don't do it. You're going to have to use the fraction. If it comes out some nice decimal, like 3.5, that's all right. Is that our answer? Got to plug it back into each one of these. What's 6 times 3.5? 21, 24.5, 31.5. It's all right for the sides of the triangle to be those?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does everything have to come out all nice and even? Not in 3rd grade anymore. Set that one off to the side. If you don't have it finished, it will be collected at the end. I would be working on it or finish it. Look at the other one. Number 2. Number 2. So this is the similar triangle worksheet. Number 2 says write the scale factor and find x. My triangles might not look exactly like their triangles. I tried to throw these on here because they gave us some different things here. Anybody have any idea what that means about these 2 angles?
Similar.
The 2 angles are congruent. So anytime that things are marked exactly the same, no matter what the markings are, we always use the arcs. Other books use little dots. Other books might use a smiley face or something. I don't know. They could use whatever they want, but as long as they're marked the same. These 2 are congruent also. What's that tell us about these 2 triangles? They're similar to each other because of angle, angle. We know this side's 9, this side's 4. This side's 2, that side's x. What proportion can we set up? First, we got to do scale factor. Whenever you're doing scale factor, you just find 2 sides that match up. So 4 and 2. Oops. So 4 over 2. Will that reduce? 2 over 1. So what that's telling you, and what you use the scale factor for, is you want to know that in these 2 triangles, for every 2 parts in this triangle, if I'm standing here and I walk 2 steps, and Levi's standing here, how many steps is he going to have to walk to keep up with me? 1. That's what it's telling you. All right, the scale factor is 2 to 1. Now we can use that scale factor on this triangle as one of our ratios also. 9 over x. Is 2 over 1 going to be easier than 4 over 2? A little bit, right? Because the multiplying is going to be a little easier. 2x equals 9. Divide by 2. What do you end up with? You could leave it as a fraction. Probably this time it comes out to be a nice decimal, doesn't it? 4.5. So let's go ahead and change it to a decimal. As long as it comes out to be some nice decimal, like 4.5, 4.5, it's not a bad thing. So when it comes out one of these decimals, do we want it as a decimal then? No, then you want to figure out what it is as a fraction. Next question. Wade, are you with us? Are you writing any of these down, or are you just... I probably knew that, Wade, or I wouldn't ask the question. All right, now you gotta be careful with this one. When we go to set up our proportion, first, are these two triangles similar? Yeah, because of angle again, right? Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, when you go to match them up, you gotta make sure that you match them up correctly. Okay, am I just gonna look at them the way they're sitting right now? No, I sort of need to spin this one around and flip it over and do a whole bunch of stuff to it, right? So, when we do that, maybe it would help to put some letters on here. I don't know, let's put A, B, C, D, E, F. Pick me a side that we know in the top triangle. 3.5, which is BC, right? Now what's BC match up to in this triangle? So that's going to be our first ratio. Now I'm sorry, did we need a scale factor on this one? So let's do the scale factor, I forgot that. So our scale factor is 3.5 over 5. Bad thing with that is, we don't want a decimal and a fraction in the same problem. That's not going to help anybody. So you take your calculator, use the ABC button, and you put in 3.5, ABC button, 5. If you have the TI 83 or 84, then you got to use the parentheses, and you put in 3.5 divided by 5 and hit the math button, and then hit equals. Try it again.
3.5 divided by 5 equals 3.
Now, all 7 over 10 all has to be in the correct. 7 over 10. Well, I got 7 over 10.
So Levi got 7 over 10. Seems like there'd be a better answer. Let's try this then. Maybe we won't do it that way using the calculator. Maybe the calculator's not smart enough. Well, I guess that wouldn't help either.
Yeah, I got 7, 5, or 7, 10.
That's probably the best answer. All right. I would probably accept either one of these as a scale factor. The 7 over 10 is probably a little more sensible because that tells you that for every 7 parts in the first triangle, there's how many in the second one? 10. That makes a little more sense than the decimal, right? Now, can we still use the 3.5 over 5 in our proportion over here instead of 7 over 10? Yeah. You might want to use the 7 over 10 because multiplying by 10 is pretty easy. What's our other ratio going to be? We went 3.5 to 5. What's the other ratio for the other? 8.4 over x. Cross multiply, what do we get? 3.5x. 42.
Yeah.
Then what do you do? Divide by 3.5. Now when we divide by 3.5, we're probably going to come out with a decimal, right? Is it all right to come out with the decimal this time? It comes out even? It's all right to come out with a decimal this time though because we started with decimals though, right? So this time it didn't, it came out even. So x equals 12, the scale factor is either one of those. Give me another one. Which one?
12.
12. All right, watch on 12. This one's a little tougher. This is one I wanted to get to for sure. I wanted to get some off the other. We know this angle is congruent to this angle. What do you know about these two angles in the middle here? They're vertical angles, so they have to be congruent. So what do we know about these two triangles? They're similar to each other. Let's see, you got 11x.
So there's similar.
So these two are similar triangles. We're trying to find the value of x. Now you got to be careful here because when you go to set up your proportion, pick me a side in this first triangle, the top one. 9. What's 9 match up to in the other triangle? 19.8. Pick me a side. Now remember, we want what in our next one? We want x, don't we?
6 over x.
You got to spin this around to get them to match up, don't you? So spin it around and 6 over x. 9x equals, somebody help me out real quick. Not going anywhere until we get this problem done.
118.8.
Then you do what? Divide by 9. We started with decimals, so is it going to be all right to come out with the decimal this time?
Yeah,
13.2.
13.2. That's all they wanted that time. Main thing on this problem, you got to make sure that you realize, hey, I got to sort of spin this triangle around to get it to match up. Just because I was in such a good mood today, even though you guys screwed it up, might have screwed up my whole day, what I'm going to do, that worksheet, the proportions worksheet's due, so it needs to be laid right here on the table before we leave.
This one on light A.
The proportions, the E-days are due next week.
Yeah, this Friday.
Thursday, yeah, your guys are due just Friday, right, not Thursday. The other worksheet,
What, this Friday?
the other, listen, the other worksheet, due next time. Your assignment is this one right here. Next time, I promise you, I promise, I don't care what the excuse is. My house
So the homework.
got hit by an airplane. I don't care.
What we did though.
These two worksheets are due and they are going to count as at least double assignments.
Okay.
So you better do them.
Did he get your assignment?
I'm trying to.
Where? Oops. Grabbing
I'm starting to get to the point, Max, where I'm wondering why. I'm wondering. The test redos, I'll take them next time. So make sure you grab this worksheet back here before you go if you haven't already. Both of them due next time. Problems off the proportion packet first. Give me a problem. 35. Then I'll work problems off of the other packet.
Wait, actually, 37. 'Cause I just remembered how to do it.
37. The ratio of the measures of the angles of a triangle are 4 to 5 to 6. What did I tell you when you see something like this?
Add them together, like add
Put
an
X.
X.
Put an X or some variable with each one.
And then you have
So if we have this triangle, this angle is at 4. What is it?
4x,
4x. This angle is,
6x.
now what?
You know that all angles in a triangle have to add up to 180.
So tell me what equation set
So
up.
180.
4x plus 5x plus 6x equals
8 backwards. Then you have to like simplify or whatever.
Like terms, what do you get?
15x equals 180. And then you divide by 15.
Should all have your calculators laying out there, right? So
12.
is that our answer?
Now you have to plug it in. So you have to plug like 5 times 12.
4 times 12 is,
45. 48. No. Wrong.
so 48 degrees. 5 times 12,
16. 72.
now does that work out the same if you're dealing with the sides?
No, because you don't, the sides don't have to add it to the special.
All right, so that would change, right? But this part over here, same idea. Next question.
I feel like they all have to do kind of with the same thing, like all
I
of them
thought-
add. So,
I thought like if you did the sides, like on 35, you'd like set up 6x plus 7x plus 9x equals 77.
Yep.
And then like on the angles down there, you would do equals 180.
yeah.
Right. That's
Well,
what we just
like,
did.
I guess it's kind of like the same because you know
Instead
that
of equal to 180 then.
well, you know what the angle.
Because we were on problem 37.
I thought it was 35.
She changed it.
Never mind.
Angles equal 180, sides
Well, it has
equal
my
whatever
right.
they say.
Other questions?
I think we should do the other packet.
Yeah.
You don't even want no more off of this one? Nobody? Better ask down.
I'm right.
Number 13.
Katie and 3, so they're trying to rush you along. 13?
Wait, we already did.
You said
yeah, we
13
did
first,
13
Chloe, then
yesterday.
I'll do, you said 13?
Yeah.
We did 13 yesterday.
I don't know.
Did 10.
Problem 13.
Yes. Yesterday. Yeah.
As soon as you see you have a binomial up here, what did I tell you to do with it? Put parentheses around it, cross multiply. What are these called again? Extremes. Gives you 45. What are these other two called? Means. Sorry about the line, it's going to stay there though, I'm not erasing it. Distribute. 45 equals what's 6 times 7 in?
42. And
6 times 9.
54.
Then what?
Minus 54 from each side.
Please remember, does everything always have to be
Positive.
moving to the left or to the right?
No.
No.
So negative 9 equals 42n. Then you want to divide by 42. And then you get n equals negative 3 over 14.
Do we want to just divide it out on the calculator? No. When you see that you have some number that's not like 2, 4, those are the two that, if you have 2 or 4 in the denominator, divide it on your calculator, give me the decimal answer, because it's going to come out pretty even. Any other number, it might not come out so even, and you're better off with using the ABC button on your calculator, or if you have the TI-83 or 84, using the fraction button in there. Next one, which one did you say, Kelsey? 15? Oops. What I already do that I was getting ready to ask you, and then I put parentheses around those. Cross multiply. Please write it out like this. I know some of you are intelligent enough that you don't need to write this step. But if you do this every time, you're never going to make a mistake. If you don't do it, maybe only 1 out of 10 times you're going to make a mistake, but
Yeah, distribute.
still it's a mistake. What do we get when we distribute?
5R and 25.
Other side?
8R and 72. And then you can plus 72 each side, minus 25, plus 5, minus 5 a minute. You do it differently than I do, but
You should always get all the variables together first.
see if we get the same answer, I guess.
Well, you
3R.
will, as long as you don't make a mistake. The problem is that I've seen so many students over my years of teaching that get all the regular numbers on the side together, and then they like move the 25 over to there, and guess what they try to do next? Move the 5R, because they know, hey, I'm supposed to take the smaller r to the bigger R. Then they got everything on one side, nothing on this side, and then they're lost.
Okay, so this is 3R and minus 72.
If that doesn't confuse you, if you don't, I'll never make that mistake. Go right ahead and do it your way.
Plus 72. And then times 70.
Then what?
Divided by 3.
Again, we're dividing by 3. Is that going to
No.
come out all nice and even? Probably not. It's going to come out some crazy decimal, 0.333. So if it's 32.3 repeating, how are we going to write that? 32 and 1/3. Next question.
We go next packet. Anyone has
Are we
another?
done with this one? Yes, no, maybe? Everybody in agreement? Stay on it? Go on? Go on? 29.
I think I have it right, it's like
160 divided by 2. Right.
Okay, I'm confused for 15.
Yeah, sorry.
When you don't, when you put in this calculator, don't you do like 32, ABC, 3?
Yeah. No, not 32, it was 97.
No, I'm talking about the answer, like to get it not in decimal form.
Yeah,
It was 97
You do
over
97
3.
ABC.
Oh, I thought it was,
When we were dividing, it said 97 over 3.
I don't even know how to use it anymore.
So you hit 97, ABC button 3, and then it's gonna give you something that looks like this. 32, 1,
I just had the wrong answer. I had 32 to begin with, and then I did 32 ABC 3 and got 10 2/3.
so it's gonna give you something that looks like that, and you gotta know that this says 32 is your whole number, 1 over 3. Chloe, which one did you say again?
29.
29. Problem 29. In the local co-ed softball league, the male to female ratio is 6 to 6. So this is male to female. If there are 160 players, how many are female? When we go to set up this proportion, and you could actually do this an easier way than setting up the proportion, but just so you see this, because I see this on the OGT all the time, they always put, and they'll probably do the same thing on the park, they always put one of these problems on there where they'll say, there are 5 boys to 7 girls in biology class. The class has 32 people, how many are girls or whatever? When I set up my first ratio here, can I set up 6 to 6? Why not? Because if I put 6 to 6, what am I doing? Males to females. Where am I going to put that 160 at? It doesn't fit males or females. That's total, isn't it? So you can't set it up that way. So what you got to remember is, hey, I'm dealing with the females, so I know that there's 6. I know that there's 6 out of, what am I going to put down here? Be careful. What is it? 12, because in this ratio right here, how many total students are there? 12. So this is females compared to total students. Now where's that 160 going to go in the other one? Bottom. And then we're going to be able to figure out how many females there are. So you got to be real careful when you're setting up these proportions on problems like this. Now to make this a little easier on us, guess what we could do with this 6 over 12? Is that going to make anything a little easier? Yeah, because I can do 1 times 160 in my head. I can do 6 times 160 in my head.
160 divided by 2 is 80.
Oops. 2 red. Divide by 2, and what's that equal?
80.
80.
I guess I'll just go ahead and ask the question. When we're doing our answers, like on the front page, they can come out as fractions, right? Like you don't have to like simplify the fraction, get a decimal. We only get a decimal if the answer has a decimal, or if the questions have a decimal.
Right, but if you have a fraction like, when you say simplify, yeah, you want to simplify that, you want to reduce
Well, I
it.
have like 25 over 2. So
Yeah, you could leave it that way.
Okay. Okay.
As long as, when
If the
when you're
answer-
talking about simplifying, see, teachers in the past always told you that simplifying, when you were simplifying something like 25 over 2, was changing it to a mixed number. That's not simplifying. All right, simplifying is when you are actually reducing it down so that the numbers are as low as they can possibly go.
And then to write a ratio, like, oh wait, never mind, I already asked you about that. I'm good. I'm ready for the next one. I don't know how, go ahead. Is everyone done with that packet?
We're finished?
I'm gonna go ahead and ask it. On the second packet, to write like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. How do you write those? Like I saw scale factor. Well, you can do
How do you
number
write the
two.
scale factor? So pick me
That's
one.
what 6.
6.
That's okay. That was good.
Problem 6.
Like I did the work, but I just didn't know how to write it. Yeah, that's what I just left all of them.
First thing on problem 6. I put these on here because I happened to find this online. And they did something like this, and I have no idea what the park test is going to do, or what any of these other tests that you might be taking are ever going to do. We always, when I want to show that two angles are congruent, we always use the arcs. Different books use different things. You might look in a book next week, and it has these two triangles, and it might have a smiley face in each corner or something to show that they're equal. As long as they're marked the same, then they're congruent to each other. So you got to make sure you match this up. First thing, with the scale factor, and the reason they want you to find the scale factor first is just like on that last problem, we had 6 over 12, and we could reduce that down. Well, if you reduce something down, it makes everything easier after that. And you can use that scale factor over and over and over again. So if we go to find the scale factor, all you're going to do is match up two sides that you know the numbers
So
for.
like 20 over 6.
What do we have to do this triangle?
Find what x is.
Before that,
Flip it.
sort of spin it around, right, to get it to match up correctly.
So like 20 over 18 and 5 over x.
Or you getting 18?
Or 16 and x, sorry.
Now be careful. So pick a side in this triangle.
It's
20. What's 20 match up to in that?
5.
This is going to be your scale factor. You pick one that you know two numbers for, and then you reduce it down. What's that reduced to?
Okay, yeah, I didn't do all these because I wasn't sure what number goes on top all the time.
Okay,
It
what
It doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
No.
I think just
So-
I was thinking 1 to 4 is 4 to 1.
So if you put 4 to 1 and somebody else puts 1 to 4, I got to know that it's still the same scale factor. It's just one of you went one way and one of you went the other way.
Besides the ratios when it says.
Right.
Well,
you know,
hey, can I?
uh,
Okay, so I did, this is probably wrong, I did 20 over 16 equals 5 over x, so I really did
Yeah, so
one
you
more-
couldn't get your scale factor that way. That's why you got to match it up. This triangle to that triangle, this triangle. Now it's all right, your proportion, it'll still give you the same answer, but it won't give you the scale factor.
Yeah, because I got x equals 4, but,
Well, we haven't found X yet.
well, I meant, like, okay.
All we've done is the scale factor. So the scale factor is 4 to 1. And what that's telling you, if I'm standing on this corner right here and I walk 4 steps, and somebody else is standing on this corner, how many steps do they have to walk to stay caught up with me? 1. So for every 1 step in this triangle, you'd have to take 4 steps in that triangle.
But you still have to find out what x is in the
Right, so we haven't even done that yet.
Good.
But what we could do now is use that scale factor. 4 compares to 1, the same as, what's the other matchup?
16 and x.
16 to x.
Oh, I don't like this.
You cross multiply, you get 4x
No, we're
equals 16. What's x equal then?
4. I don't.
Weird. For number 7, is the scale factor 3.5 over 5
Yep.
or 2.5,
So
whatever?
then x, so it would be 4x
Over 1.
equals 1.
No, 4
How do
over
you
1.
write it?
Like,
This is stupid.
Yeah, how do you
This is
write
seriously
that?
stupid.
Scale factor, right like that.
I know, but it says like, it's got like a blank x equals, oh, I
No.
understand now, because it's like separated.
They're separated. This is your scale
at first,
factor.
that's what I thought it was at first too. I was like so confused.
I was like,
Yeah, I asked it,
I'm like 3.5x.
I'm getting ready to tell you that, yeah. As soon as they get all get done, so they can understand.
This is seriously
All right,
like
number 7. Number 7, if you matched them up, you had something like this, and Olivia up here saying that's not right. The reason that's not really right is because
3 and a
you don't want 3.5 in there. So what you'd have to do is multiply each one by something, and if you use your calculator, it would do it for you. If you put in 3.5, ABC button 5, hit enter, it would reduce it for you, and what's it tell you?
It doesn't reduce, it says here.
It would have to be, wait,
Some of them say error, and I don't understand why.
With the, isn't that still the answer though? It's the same thing, it's just round like.
Hey, if you just take,
So you could,
16 divided by 5, it just had, oh wait, I think that's what I did.
so the scale factor for 7 is 7
So,
out of 10.
I
Oh,
thought-
I see. Since on this one.
now if you put this scale factor down for 7, I would mark it wrong.
I mean 20. Oh wait,
Hey,
You're on the wrong,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
two separate
yeah,
problems.
okay, so on 6,
Number
you did,
7.
you did, no, on 6.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, yeah, I was like, no. But anyways, on 6.
We're wasting a whole bunch of time.
I'm very confused.
12.
On 6, you did 2, or you did 20 over 5, but then on 7, you did 3.5 over 5.
Oh, what is going on?
That you know.
Two
Well,
completely
yeah.
different
So it
problems.
doesn't matter how you write it, you could have wrote it like 5 over 20.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's what we said here.
That's what I said.
All the
Okay.
bigger numbers on top.
We said, you could have this as your scale factor, you could have this as your scale factor. Now, going back to that, everybody listen, so I don't have to explain this 100 times. If they say that you're enlarging the shape, which of these would be your scale factor?
If you're enlarging it, it'd be 4 over 1.
Be 4 over 1. If they say you're reducing your shape, then it'd be 1 over 4. So they might put something on there in a question saying something like that, saying, this is an enlargement. What's the scale factor? Well, then you got to know it's 4 to 1, not 1 to 4, because 1 to 4 would make the shape smaller.
I hope this is a lot of the tests, this scale factor. Hang on, for geometry, do they separate like how the practice test thing is 2 different sections? Do you take one section one day and the other section the other day, or is it you do both sections in one day and then a whole nother one?
it's a
day?
two different tests.
Well, there's like 2 different sections, but you could count as 2 different tests.
I think that you do the two sections on one day and then 2 sections
I
on
hope
the
so,
other day.
because then there will be at least like,
I think.
I've heard there's, even
I
on
see,
the
I was
test, there's
confused.
only like 14 or 18 questions.
Right.
Wait, I don't believe.
Now, I don't know on the math, because I haven't seen an actual math test, but I know on the English parts, my son said they were real short,
The
so.
tests were, did you think they were easy?
He said that they were easy, but he's not, you've heard me say he's good in math, he's not good in English.
So that means that
don't
if
go
he
by that.
thinks it's easy, then it is easy.
No, that probably means that he didn't put a whole lot of effort into it.
You never finished 7.
This is chapter 6 stuff, right?
Yeah.
Chapter 7,
Oh my gosh,
Well,
chapter
that's
6
not
hard.
good.
chapter 8, and chapter 10. If you were going to look at other chapters, those are the 3 I would look at.
Alright.
Chapter 7 is on, I don't really.
Sine, cosine,
Yeah,
and
it's confusing.
Okay, I know
Sure,
help.
great.
I was never done it. Do we need that for the
I like
budget?
reading chapter 2.
What?
Right, I'm like,
Hey,
I'm
can you
just
help
like
me with
staring
this?
at
No, and that's why I'm trying to hurry through this, but.
Well, you,
Is-
I
What?
haven't really learned
Any
that.
certain
Come on,
things
come on.
we most likely
Okay.
do in it, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry. This, I did
So,
the 7 over 10
sure
equals
if
x
I'll do
over
this one.
8
And
points.
there was like,
Plus
and then there's
one.
7 questions on the first part, because there's like a non-calculated
Divide by
part.
10.
So I calculated plus 8, and the first part there's 7
Divide by 10.
questions, and like 4 out of the 7 questions
you
were
already did
all
it.
7.
Oh, yeah. So our answer is final in 8.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
No, it's not weird.
This
What's,
is really
what's weird is the fact that you think it's weird
I think it was.
instead of because it's like you're in 8th grade or 3rd grade again.
Well, it's like.
Questions on this paper real quick, more. Let's go.
Number. Number. What did I answer last time?
23?
Or 12.
23. Watch, because we're probably going to run out of time. Don't move once the bell rings either. 23, they tell us these two are parallel. What's that tell us about the big triangle and the small triangle?
That's just what it's on. I'm pretty sure.
We have this,
Never mind.
this, and this. Now, does that mean it's a mid-segment and this has to be 6? No, they didn't tell us all that. The proportion we can set up, 6 compares to 10, the same as x compares to 12. Cross multiply, you get 72 equals 10x. X is going to equal what? 7.2. Now, what I want you to do before you go, this is your assignment laying right here. The proportions packet has to be laid right here beside it. Make sure your name's on it.
Wait.
The other packet, keep till next time. Listen to me carefully. I don't care what happens next time. Maybe we're out of school for the next month. When you come back to this class, these 2 packets are due, and they're going to count as double assignments. This one and the one you're picking up today. Does everybody understand that?
Yes. So only turn in proportions.
Only turn in this one.
Good. Okay.
Make sure the other 2 are finished next time when you walk through the door.
What do you want us to do for chapter 5?
Hang on to that till next week. I said I'm going to collect it along with the e-dig stuff next week.
Mr. Everson, you have to do your homework. Like, hold on.
Oh my gosh, everyone's freaking out, so I think get later.
Can I do it?
Yeah, you want to do it?
Yes.
Yeah, let me do a couple, then I'll let you do something.
Okay.
36. You can tell me how to do it.
Okay. I finally learned how to do it today. You're so good.
As soon as you see this, what do you put with each number? Put what?
Not very booked up.
Put a variable with each one, right? So if this is our triangle, and the perimeter is 84, this side over here is not going to be 7 units long. How long is it going to be? 7x. How about this side? 9x. This side? 12x. What equation can we set up from all that?
7x plus 9x plus 12x equals.
The more you guys all help, have your calculators out, the quicker this is going to go, the more problems we're going to get done. That equals 84. Now what?
28x equals 84.
28x. Everybody agree with that? All those add together give you 28x? Even though Jonathan doesn't have a calculator, Jane doesn't have a calculator, I'd probably let you go back there and grab one so you can help out during this. I know it's going to kill you to get up out of your chair and have to do the exercise, right?
Then divide by 28.
Divide by 28.
X equals 3.
X equals 3. Everybody agree with that? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Is that our answer?
No. You have to find each angle in the sides. Find each side.
Graham, do you not agree with that? Got it? All right. Now, what do you do with the X?
You have to put it back on the side.
Plug it in. 7 times 3 is what? 21, that's one of the sides. 9 times 3,
27.
that's another side. 12 times 3,
36.
36. Those are your 3 sides. 3 sides of a triangle, Brian, always add up to
3 sides of a triangle?
nothing special, right? All right, just want to make sure. Where's your stuff at?
I don't have that paper. I thought I had it.
Where's that?
I don't know. I had like all the papers, but this is one.
So you have this one?
He just said he does.
I have no clue where these papers even came from.
What was in your laptop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got them last time.
You probably didn't grab it.
We got this one the time before, and then we got this one last time. And we got this one last time.
Next question on the proportions worksheet.
16.
After I just said something earlier about making sure you do every assignment, right?
Yeah.
And now we know.
Got this one?
16, you said?
More right there. Oh.
Watch, because I'm going to do this one sort of quick. Try not to do a whole lot of explanation because I want to get through it. This is one where you have to factor.
Parentheses.
All right? First thing, put parentheses around each of these. 3x, when we cross multiply, 3x minus 1 times x plus 2. The other side, Remember, these are called the extremes, these are called the means. 2 times -2 is -4. We can't solve this with a -4 on that side, it's gotta be 0 over there. So the first thing we gotta do is do FOIL to get rid of all these parentheses. First term's 3x squared. Outer terms, 3x times 2 is 6x. Inner terms, -1 times x, -1x. -1 times 2 is -2. That still equals -4. I want to move that -4 over to the other side. What's going to happen when you move -4 over to the other side? It becomes positive. So 3x squared plus 6x minus 1x minus 2 plus 4 now equals 0. That's what we wanted, was to have 0 on that side over there. Collect like terms is the 3x squared like any other term in there. So it just stays by itself. 6x and -1x give you what? 5x. Those are done. That one's done. -2 and +4 give you +2 equals 0. Next thing, set up parentheses. You got to find the factors of. So now these problems are long because we had to get rid of the parentheses, and now we're doing what? Putting it right back in it because we had to have that 0 on that side over there. Factors of 3x squared. Well, the only factors of 3x squared are 3x and x. So those go in the first spots. Remember we wrote all this down over here last time and had the steps. Factors of +2. 1 and 2, -1, -2. Well, everything's positive, so we're probably using the 1 and 2. The only thing that could go wrong here is if we put them in the wrong order. So do I want to put 1 first, then 2, or 2, then 1? You make the choice. 2, then 1. So +2, +1. We check it by doing the outer and the inner, and it should give us back that right there. What's 3x times 1? 3x. What's 2 times x? What's 3x plus 2x? That's what we had. So we factored it right. Now once we have it factored, we split it up. Either that equals 0, so 3x plus 2 equals 0, or x plus 1 equals 0.
That's the one we have to, okay, I know.
What's the answer to this one over here? What's going to give you 0 right there?
1.
No, -1.
I did nothing.
Here we got to solve it. Probably can't do it in our head, right? So we do get 3x equals -2, then you divide by 3. What's x equal? What's 2 divided by 3? Or -2 divided by 3?
0.6.
Ah, don't do something silly, come on. -2/3, it just stays that, right? Those are your two answers. Remember, how many answers should you have anytime you have an x squared in a problem? 2. If you got an x to the 3rd power, how many answers should you have? 3. X to the 4th, 4 answers, 5, 6, so on and so on. Next question. Which one? 25. 25. Benjamin Franklin Suspension Bridge in Philadelphia is 1,750 feet. A model of the bridge is 42 inches. What is the ratio? So we want the scale factor. That's what the ratio is. So we want the model compared to the real bridge. Model compared to the real. Well, what did they tell us about the model? Somebody help me out on 25. Let's go.
42 inches.
42 inches?
The model of the bridge.
What did they tell us about the real bridge?
750 feet, or 1,750 feet.
Now, what's the problem with that? One's in inches, one's in feet. All right? So what we need to do is change it so either they're both in feet or they're both in inches. Now, you don't have to do this all the time, but to do a scale factor, you need to, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. How can we change, or which one do we want to change?
Inches would be a lot easier.
So how are you going to change 42 inches into feet?
Divide by 12.
Divide by 12. So somebody tell me what that is.
It is 3.5.
3.5. compared to 1750. That's your scale factor. That's your ratio that they want. The bad thing with that is normally you don't want a decimal and a fraction in the same problem. So if you take your calculator, and most of these probably won't do it. Does anybody have a TI-83 or 84? There's all yours TI-30s. Everybody's got a TI-30?
30s.
So what you have to do, if you had a TI-83 or 84, you could punch this in over that and have it reduce it. These calculators don't like denominators bigger than 1,000. So they won't reduce something bigger than 1,000. All right? So what you need to do there is take your calculator and divide. Divide the top by 3.5. What's it going to give you if you divide the top by 3.5? 1. Now on your calculator, take 1750 and divide it by 3.5. Does that ratio make a little more sense? So for every 1 foot in the model bridge, how many feet are there in the real bridge? 500. That's a scale factor there. That's a good ratio. Next one.
37.
Which one? 37?
37.
You said 37?
37.
37. 37, yeah, here. 37 deals with the angles instead of the sides. What do you know about the angles of a triangle? They always add up to be 180. So it's 4 to 5 to 6. So one angle's not 4. Now that you're doing sides. Angles. Angles. Just mark it out. Where's that 4 go? In the angle, right? So that angle's 4x. Another angle is, doesn't matter. 5x. Another angle is 6x. What equation can you set up? Equals 180. Three angles of a triangle have to add up to be 180. So look at the equation that she set up. Then you got to do what? Collect all the x's. 4x plus 5x plus 6x is how many? 15x equals 180. Then what do you do? 180 divided by 15. So x equals what? 9.
It's a weird 9.
Is that right? 9? 12.
I'm reading off the wrong one.
So x equals 12. Let's say 9 didn't seem like enough.
I was reading off 38.
So once we know that, is that our answer?
No.
You got to plug it back in. What's 4 times 12?
4 times 12 is
48 degrees.
Next one is
That's one of the angles. What's 5 times 12?
5 times 12 is
60 degrees. That's another angle. And then what's 6
Yes.
times 12?
70.
72 degrees. Could we check our answer to make sure we're right? Those 3 answers that we got should add up to be what?
180.
180. Next question. All right, off the other packet. The one that says similar triangles. Questions, problems you want to see off of it? Number 4. I put these on there. I found these online, and I know that when you go to take these tests, whatever tests you might have to take, whether you got to take the PARC, the AIR, the OGT, whatever test you might be taking. Hang on. There it is. This problem did something like this. Guess what that tells you about those 2 angles? They're congruent, even though we're used to seeing the little arcs in there, right?
Yeah.
If they're marked the same, that's all that matters. Whatever they have in them, they could put smiley faces in each one. That means they're the same, all right? This is 4.5, and this is 6. How can we set up an equation here? or proportion, sorry.
Proportion?
Oh, first, let's find the scale factor. Watch so you understand scale factor. You find the scale factor, all you got to do is pick any two sides that you know the numbers for both of them. One in one triangle, one in the other, and you set up that ratio. So what do we have here?
6 and
6 over 4.5 on your calculator. You should be able to do this on these TI-30s. Hit 6, ABC button, 4.5. What's it tell you? Somebody find me one that doesn't say here. Some of them do, some of them don't. 6, ABC button, 4.5.
It's 1 1/3.
It's 1 1/3. Now, we don't want 1 1/3, do we? We want a ratio, so what's 1 times 3? 3 plus 1. So we actually want 4 over 3. That's the scale
Good
factor.
afternoon, everyone. Couple afternoon
You set up
announcements.
this
Reminder to everyday
proportion.
students, please get your containers directly after school. Mr. Cannell's planning on leaving directly.
Somebody help me out and
His
solve
room
this real
closed at
quick.
2:30 today. Again, a reminder to our
4.5x
students not
equals
get it done.
36. Divide that, and what do you
Report
get?
to room 213. Mr. Vincent had a detention in room 217.
8.
Or 216, sorry. And staff, just a reminder, for conferences tonight, we do have some chips, cookies, and things down here for you.
Yeah, I'm going to explain it here in a second.
Are you collecting the chapter test?
Thank you very much,
Yeah,
everybody.
next
Have a
week.
great rest of your night. See you tomorrow.
All right, listen carefully. The proportions worksheet. Make sure your name's on it. It goes right here. The other worksheet. Keep it, finish it, and as you come over here, grab this other one. So you have this one and this new one that you're going to grab. Next class, no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care if we don't have school for the next month. Both these packets are due and they're going to count as double grades. Don't forget about all the quizzes on Moodle if you haven't done those. I went in, put a bunch of zeros in today because people haven't done those quizzes on Moodle. E-Day's due next week and the Chapter 5 tests are due next week. Don't forget all this stuff. You got a lot going on. Don't forget what all you owe or need for this class.